We certainly did not need an uncompetitive shoot-around dressed up with a ton of ads and an obscene amount of singing along with Marv Albert, Reggie Miller, and Chris Webber on commentary. I don't know why I put myself through that, but we didn't need that to tell us that Steph Curry and Damian Lillard are two of the best shooters of all time, two of the best deep shooters of all time, and can do stuff like this on the regular. That's not what we needed, although when you look back to a couple of months ago, people were questioning Steph Curry's legacy. You're an idiot. Not you. Anyone that did question Steph's legacy, even if you are watching my videos, which I appreciate, you're a bit of an idiot for it, but you can redeem yourself. You can redeem yourself. I'm not saying that's your permanent tag, but that kind of theory, if you had that, that was idiotic. So we didn't need that to confirm Steph being the greatest shooter of all time, top 10 player of all time, etc. It's just a good reminder. Sometimes you just need a reminder. It's like, oh, Damian Lillard, Steph Curry on the same team, like, they're kind of playing a completely different game to everyone else on the floor when they can just step into rhythm. Oh, 35 feet out. Let me just set my feet. Pop. Like, is it that simple? Is it that simple? I know Steph Curry and Damian Lillard are so special. When I'm just watching the game, sitting on my chair like most people do, like in the past, you would have thought if someone steps into a rhythm half-court shot, you would have been losing your mind. They do it back to back. They do it regularly, and you're just like, yeah, it's not really surprising. Like, it's impressive, like, cool, but I've seen it before, and this isn't me trying to downplay it. That's the ludicrous nature of how good these guys have been, that it gets to the point where it's like, they're going to pull it from half court, and I'm expecting it to go in. They pull it from anywhere within half court, that's probably dropping. So that's kind of crazy. It shouldn't be the case, but it is the case, and it just goes to show how great those guys are as deep shooters, shooters in general. They make what used to be an anomaly just look regular, and they have made it regular over the last several seasons, which is unbelievable. Now, before I go a bit further, I'm not going to spend the whole time talking about this All-Star game, don't worry. I'm going to talk about their broader impact and their broader ability to shoot the three ball from deep range. But before I do that, if you could drop a like on the video and subscribe to the channel, it just really helps out how the video goes. It's free, and it would be much appreciated. I make content like this every single day, and doing so, it just really helps. So that would be cool. Like I mentioned, I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about the All-Star game because I'd rather talk about Steph Curry and Damian Lillard as a whole, as opposed to a 3 out of 10 game with a lot of dunks that just weren't very impressive. People that just clearly didn't want to be there, and they made their intentions clear. If you enjoyed the All-Star game, there's nothing wrong with that. We're not going to talk about that for too long. However, just on the All-Star game, I think Steph Curry and Damian Lillard are two players that can make it entertaining regardless. You look at these guys with the uncontested dunks, there wasn't too much originality. Like, I thought they were going to do something original. Can we do something different? Like, throw up an alley-oop and, like, do the worm on the floor and then get up and, like, windmill it or something? Something like that. Like, Zach LaVine, you could probably do that. Or, like, get on the floor and start breakdancing and, like, throw an alley-oop over them or something crazy, you know, like, something different. That could be cool because it's basically the same thing. There's no defense, so you may as well try out something like a behind-the-back alley-oop. Jokic, I was expecting some kind of crazy pass from you. Unfortunately, it didn't happen. When you've just got all these players going through the motions, the difference is when Steph Curry and Damian Lillard are going through the motions, they're hitting shots from 40 feet off the dribble in rhythm, and it's still pretty incredible to see, regardless of if defense is being played or not, because no defense can stop someone who can just pull up and shoot from 40 feet, as we've seen, evident by them putting up 30 points a night and being two of the best players in the NBA. Oh yeah, and Steph won the three-point contest, which was pretty cool as well. Like 31 points, 28 points, hits the last shot. I mean, Steph kind of things. But just talking about these two guys as a whole and how they've helped evolve the deep three in particular, like, we don't really need to discuss the three-point shot. Steph Curry has changed that. The deep three in particular, Steph and Dame, they're just kind of breaching things that we wouldn't have thought were possible and making it regular, like I mentioned before. And when you look at the numbers, it's ridiculous. I mean, last season, Damian Lillard was the man who put up the best volume deep three-point shooting season of all time, if I got that out correctly. Basically, shots from over 30 feet. I know, pretty light work. 30 feet, that's like 8 feet behind the line. So basically, Rudy Gobert's deepest two-point shot and the three-point shot. That's what those guys are doing in terms of deep threes. So beyond 30 feet, Damian Lillard shot 54 of 130, which is good for 41.5%. 30 feet and beyonds, 41.5%. There are players getting paid millions of dollars as shooters that can't shoot that number as a whole, whereas Damian Lillard's doing that from 30 to 40 feet and beyond on high volume. in one season. It's just numbers that shouldn't be comprehended. And I mean, they are because he does it, but it's just ridiculous to say. I mean, he shot 8 of 12 from between 35 and 39 feet. I don't know the exact distance, but that's probably just around the logo, like the print on the logo. 8 of 12, that's 67%. Your favorite player probably doesn't shoot better at the rim. I mean, no one really shoots better at the rim than 67%, and he's doing that on shots between 35 and 39 feet. This season, he's been slacking. I mean, he's only shooting 35% from 30 feet and beyond. I mean, come on, Dame, pick it up. 30%, 35%. I mean, that's still league average, and he's taking him from about 10 feet beyond the arc, but you can pick it up. Come on, Dave, get it back to 40%. What are you doing? You're slacking a bit. Steph Curry, on the other hand, well, I actually did some deep diving on Steph, which involved me pretty much just writing down numbers and then calculating them because I'm not very good at finding the right metrics to measure them themselves and let the computer do the work. So I did that myself, and basically I wanted to find out how good Steph's three-point percentage would be without his half-court heaves. I know this isn't particularly related to the video, and we're going to talk about his deep three-point shooting in just a bit, but I just wanted to see what his numbers would be like if you took out all those half-court heaves, which, when they go in, they're fun, but the reality is even Steph doesn't make too many of them because they're with a couple of seconds left in the buzzer, and he's taking them from like 70 feet. So all of the shots from beyond 40 feet, aka those half-court heaves, they weren't exactly a high percentage. So when I got rid of those shots, those attempts from the regular season and the playoffs, yes, I went through individually and found all of those numbers. When I did that, his three-point percentage went from 43.3 to 44% on his career. Why do you need that piece of information? Well, because I spent way too long looking at that information to not tell you. And isn't it cool that he went up 0.7% and is even more impressive than he was before when you take out these shots that are still memorable and don't stop shooting them, because you don't need to be worried about your shooting percentage like other people because you're solidified as the best shooter of all time. So it's not really an issue, but like his three-point shooting percentage would be even higher if he didn't take like 20 shots a game from beyond 40 feet. That's not really helping his three-point shooting percentage, and that's why when people talk about the best deep shooter in the league, people have said Damian Lillard is better, and this isn't a video trying to compare the two because there's been so many videos of that. Like, okay, it's cool to do that, but at the same time, let's just appreciate them both. But Steph and Curry, when I talk about from 30 feet to 35 feet, that little sweet spot, just 10 to 12 feet beyond the arc, pretty light work for Steph. When I talk about that, he owns that range. He owns that range. Like, he owns every single arena in the NBA from that range. It's solidified, and no one is going to tell me otherwise. And when I tell you these numbers, you're going to say the exact same thing to everyone you know in your family and your friends. But here are the numbers from Steph's last 7 seasons shooting from 30 to 34 feet. Again, about 10 to 12 feet beyond the arc. 14-15, 3 of 7. 15-16, 15 of 26, 57.7% on 26 attempts from 30 to 34 feet. He also hit 4 shots from beyond 40 feet in that season. Okay, 16-17, 12 of 30, 40%, light work. Like, that's a down season, 40% from 30 to 35 feet on 30 attempts. 17 to 18, 3 of 7, 43%. 18 to 19, 18 of 47, only 38.3% on a number of attempts from 30 to 35 feet. 3 of 7, 43%. And then most recently in this season, he's already taken 35 shots from that range and he's made 15 of them, which is good for 43%. You know what that tallies up to? That tallies up to 69 of 149 from 30 to 34 feet over the last 7 seasons. And that's good for 46.3%. Just think about that. Just think about that for a second. So Steph Curry, when he takes a shot like 10 to 12 feet beyond the arc, hits it nearly half of the time over his last 7 seasons. Andre Drummond's career free throw percentage is 46.7%. So you've pretty much just got the same chance of Steph Curry hitting a 3 10 feet beyond the arc as Andre Drummond hitting a free throw. I like Damian Lillard, and again, this isn't a comparison, but let's just make sure Steph Curry is the best deep shooter of all time, because I've seen people try to say he's not because all the numbers suggest, well, he's only shooting 30%. Yeah, well, half of those attempts are half-court heaves at the end of the buzzer, which he's not afraid to take because he doesn't care about his shooting percentage, and he takes them when there's pretty much no chance of him making them, because half the time he'll shoot them from like 60 feet while still being contested because people are still worried he's going to make that shot. But like, just for the 1 out of 100 shots that he makes against the Clippers and then slides across the floor, that's enough to make it all worth it, make that extra percentage worth it. But let's not question his deep shooting. And then you add in the ones from 35 to 40 feet. It all adds up to about 40% on deep shots when you discount the ones that are taken from half court, as I mentioned. That is better than anyone in the league. It doesn't need to be said, and it's not really close. So Steph Curry, let's just ease it on thinking he's not the greatest deep shooter, best shooter of all time. He hit 3 out of 4 from the Jew zone. So like, we saw it in action in the three-point contest, and in the end, that's what helped him win. But we've just seen the influence Steph and Dame have had, particularly Steph, but Dame is someone who's so good at it that he deserves the respect as well, because when you talk about someone excelling at this, he does it, I think it's almost more effortless than Steph. Regardless of what the numbers say, the effort level, like the ease at which Dame does it, is something I've never seen from anyone, particularly someone who's like 6'3", he's not like some 6'8" monster like a LeBron James, and he just makes it look so easy. Steph-effortless. Okay, we heard that enough during the broadcast, but yeah, that's cool. And we've already seen the influence of these guys stretching beyond the arc. I mean, Trey, Luka recently already, they're taking a lot of deep shots. I mean, Kristaps Porzingis takes a ton of deep shots. Actually, he's someone that shoots at a really high percentage. Is he coming for Steph's crown? Maybe. Not the way he's been playing, but those guys are taking deep shots. I'm sure 5 to 10 years from now, that's going to be normal. It's going to be normal. They're probably not going to be doing it at 40% like Steph and Curry, 46% like Steph and Curry, but they're going to be doing it a lot, and it's all because of Steph and Damian Lillard, who are paving the way and doing things that we didn't think were possible at this kind of rate just 5-10 years ago. This was a video kind of inspired by the All-Star game, because it's never a bad time to make a video about Stephen Curry and Damian Lillard, just to talk about their influence and their ability as deep shooters. Like, to think about your favorite shooter, your best shooter from your favorite franchise, he doesn't shoot at a higher percentage from 3 with his toes crawling just to stay beyond the arc. He's got his toes curled up into his feet just to stay inches, centimeters beyond the arc to get the best shot possible. So he's doing all of that, having a set shot, catch and shooter. The guy who's getting paid tens of millions of dollars just to be a shooter, he's not shooting at a higher percentage on those shots than Steph is shooting when he's just walking into threes from 33 feet out. That's all I've got to say. I don't know how he does it. I don't know how either of them do it. I guess you don't want to know a magician's tricks. Is that the saying? That's probably not the saying, but like, you get the point. Anyways, that's it. Have a nice day. Bye.